What is going on, everybody? Welcome back into TTP Sports. And after we were riding the insane high after the Flyers win against the Dallas Stars on Thursday, leave it to the Flyers to, I guess, leave us blue-balled in this home back-to-back against the Colorado Avalanche and the Ottawa Senators. Yesterday's game against the Colorado Avalanche, I wouldn't even say they played a bad game. It was just, defensively, yes, defensively you played a bad game. You got outclassed by Colorado's skill, but you found ways to fight back into the game, and also you can come down to, maybe if Carter Hart makes a couple of saves here and there, even though a lot of the goals really, it felt like he had no chance to get to. You got a couple of cross creases, you got a breakaway for Nate McKinnon, a deflection that goes off of a skate, so Carter Hart can't even adjust to that. Really, the only goal I can see from yesterday's game, specifically the Carter Hart, to where he really should have had was that fifth goal that he allowed, which went in between his blocker and his armpit, and it squeaked by him into the net. After I believe the Flyers made it a very close game at that point. They were still fighting through the whole way. Sam Harrison came into the game yesterday in the third period, and even probably he had a goal that he would like back, a goal that squeaked through him, and Colorado was able to cash in on the loose puck, and they buried it to basically seal off the game. And yeah, I really didn't have many complaints about yesterday's game. It was really just Colorado's skill, and Nate McKinnon just went completely off on you. I believe Nate McKinnon had like 5 points yesterday. So yeah, he was on an absolute clinic in yesterday's game. It was just completely unreal seeing that from Nate McKinnon. Now, okay, he actually had 4 points. It felt like he had 50 points in yesterday's game. I wouldn't have been surprised if he had a point on every single goal in yesterday's game. And one of their players scored a hat trick. It was O'Connor. Colton had 4 points. Rantanen had 2 goals. So it was basically just Colorado showcasing their offensive firepower. And of course, it went into a whole controversy with freaking the goaltending situation with Carter Hart and Sam Harrison. Because, Carter Hart isn't making the big saves. He always allows those weak squeakers. And then, today's game, I really don't see any of that from Flyers Twitter, really nothing on, even though today wasn't the day to blame the goaltender. Sam Harrison was one of the main reasons why you were involved in today's loss to begin with. It just felt off from the get-go. Even with a 2-0 lead, Yegor Zamula gets the first 2 goals of the game. First one was very weird. It was on a power play, I believe. Farabee with a shot from the right side, the right circle. It bounces completely over everybody, and no one knows where this puck is. Everyone thinks it's somewhere around the blue paint, somewhere around the net, but the puck floats all the way over to the left circle, goes all the way to the boards, and the only person that sees it is Yegor Zamula, and he just throws it into the open net, because what would you do with that situation? The whistles weren't blowing the play dead, so just keep playing on, throw the puck into the net, and it's a goal. It's a goal. It was a weird situation. It was one of the most hilarious goals I've ever seen in my life. Probably won't see any as more hilarious as that would have been. But the Flyers do go up 1-0. And then they eventually score later on into the first period. Yegor Zamula once again throwing a shot on net from the point, and it goes in. It looked like it deflected off one of the Senators in front, and it becomes a 2-0 Flyers lead, and you take a 2-0 lead going in to the first intermission. But it still felt off, the way they couldn't get up the neutral zone, they couldn't get up the ice. Ottawa was clogging up the neutral zone, preventing them from making that outlet pass, which they like to do. We all know the Flyers, they like to generate off the rush. They like to generate from that outlet pass. They like to get that breakout. They try to get the guys flying into the zone on the forecheck, get the pucks in deep, bury the body, get a heavy forecheck in there, pressure the defenders, and they really weren't able to do that today. And it's also maybe to the matter of the fact that you were kind of missing Owen Tippett in this game, because he left yesterday afternoon's game with an injury, and there is some good news revolving around that. It is not as serious as it looked on the ice, because he was limping off the ice. He didn't look good, the way how awkwardly he went into the boards yesterday in that third period. But this afternoon, before the game, he skated on the ice. So that is a good sign. And then they released a statement during the game that he was just day-to-day with a lower body injury. So I'm assuming it's something. A lot of people were talking about how they're, positive news, they avoided the worst. And maybe it just sounds like a sprained ankle or something like that, and he's only day-to-day. So the Flyers definitely got away with, a little bit of luck there on the Owen Tippett side, especially with the way that he's been on this insane heater as of late. They probably could have used his speed and the way that he just drives the play in general today. Maybe they were missing that. For some reason, the team just looked tired. They looked really tired, and I'm not going to use that as the excuse because Ottawa, the road team, they played yesterday and they had to travel here. So I don't find that as an excuse. Ottawa should be the more tired team because they also played the back-to-back, and they're also including that travel, and the Flyers were home these past 2 days. So I'm not going to use the back-to-back and the exhaustion as the excuse. Probably wasn't the best idea to throw Nick Deslauriers in there when he plays only like 6 minutes a game. So maybe you could have put Bobby Brink in there just to generate a little more on the offensive side of the puck. Maybe get a little more, playmaking ability there. So maybe that goes on Torts for that situation. But it just felt like they were getting hemmed in their own zone a lot. They really couldn't do anything in the neutral zone. And when they were really getting into the offensive zone, nothing really seemed dangerous. They probably could have done something more, but then, it really started to go downhill. In that second period, Jaeger Zamula fans on a pass. He misses the puck, and then here comes Zach McEwen out of all fucking people on a breakaway, and he roofs one past Sam Ersson, making it a 2-1 game. Then Joel Farabee knocks one on the power play to get that 2-goal lead back, but then Ottawa instantly responds off of a net mount scramble to where I'm not sure why the ref isn't blowing the play dead at this point. And the puck goes in. For some reason, they didn't call it a goal on the ice. And then there was a penalty on the Flyers. And then they decided to review the play because the puck was in the net. And they're reviewing it to see if the puck was in the net before the whistle blew. And, of course, at the Wells Fargo Center, they don't show anything in terms of audio for that type of scenario. So you're just going to have to go on face value. And, yes, from the replay, the puck was in the net. So you would just have to assume that the ref didn't blow the whistle at that point. And, the replay was done. Goal was called good on the ice. It became a 3-2 game, and that was directly after Farabee scored. So that was a situation where you really didn't need to allow a goal, or couldn't allow a goal in that situation, and you did. Nothing to blame on Ersson. It was just a net mouth scramble and people just burying into the net. There was a lot of situations where Ottawa players were just running right into Ersson. So that was a weird thing right there, but it becomes a 3-2 Flyers lead there. And then just Ottawa, I would say, completely took over that third period. Very early on, Flyers hemmed in their own zone, turnovers galore, and it's Claude Giroux that makes it a 3-3 game. Yeah, G. Yeah. Fuck off, G. Fuck off. I appreciate your time in a Flyers uniform, but fuck off. That's basically my assumption there. And then Flyers in the offensive zone trying to generate chances. This is directly after Cam Atkinson gets a breakaway and is denied by the Ottawa goaltender. Nick Seeler makes a very bad pass on the blue line in the offensive zone. Ottawa jumps on it. It becomes a 2-on-1 the other way, and it's just a bury on the one-timer from Vladimir Tarasenko. Becomes a 4-3 lead, and then when the Flyers pull the goaltender, Joel Farabee makes an errant pass down low in Ottawa's zone. Ottawa gets puck possession. They bring it up the ice, and it's Stützle that manages to pot home the game, clinching goal, the icebreaker basically at that point. Make it a 5-3 Ottawa lead, and that would be the way the game ends there. Flyers losing the back-to-back. They've allowed 12 goals these past 2 games, so definitely not a recipe for success there. I'll just call this a blip on the radar. Yesterday, I'll throw it to, okay, it was just Colorado. Colorado's a high-flying team. You scored 4 goals against them, but you got to find a way to keep the puck out of the net. But, Nate McKinnon is on a completely different level this year. He's definitely going to be nominated for the Hart Trophy. He's going to be in the Art Ross conversation along with Nikita Kucherov. So, yeah, you'll just throw it there. It was just a very high-flying Colorado offense at this point. Today is definitely what you could describe as a traditional trap game, as what Doc Rivers would say for the Sixers, a scheduled loss. And it happened to be one of those situations against a very bad Ottawa Senators team. And this is one of those rare instances where the Flyers really didn't throw that many pucks on net. They went like 10-plus games with having at least 35-plus shots on net. Today, the Flyers really only had 25, so that really showed you the diction of the way the game was going, even with the 2-goal lead to start it off. It just never really felt like you were in prime position to just run away with the game. It just really never felt like that the entire way through, and you let a very bad team hang around, and sometimes those are the most dangerous situations when you let a bad team hang around. It's, sometimes this shit happens. So that results in back-to-back losses after the 5-game win streak, and now you got 3 more games left, 2 at home, 1 on the road before you embark on the All-Star break, which is a week and a day, Your last game's on Saturday against Boston, and then you don't play until February 6th, I believe. That's a Tuesday, so that's a very long week and a day or two off for this team, and that's probably what this team needs at the end of the day. They have been playing a lot of hockey as of late, so maybe that could also be the implication of why they looked a little bit gassed out there, but still not an excuse at the end of the day. They got to find a way to beat this Ottawa team, and they just didn't. But what are you going to do? You win some, you lose some. You're on a 5-game win streak. You lost 2 in a row. Now you just got to bounce back and try to find a way to salvage these last 3 games before the break. That's all you could do at this point. That is all you could basically do. There's really no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You didn't play a good game today. Yesterday, your goaltending just wasn't there. And your defense really hasn't been the best the past couple of games after putting on a clinic against the Dallas Stars. So, bounce back. You get a day off tomorrow. And you play a Tampa Bay team on, I would say, Tuesday? You play Tampa Bay? And if we're looking at the Tampa Bay Lightning this year, just to see where they are, just what they're doing around the league. They're currently 3rd place in the Metro. They're 24-17-5, 53 points on the year. They're on a 5-game winning streak. They're 7-3-0 in that span. But looking at their record, just comparable right now, they're 15-5-3 at home. They're 9-12-2 on the road. So I'm not sure of looking at Tampa Bay just in general to see where their previous, this stretch of winning has been. So just looking at the stretch, they're 7-3-0 in their last 10. So yeah, they played a lot of home games as of late, so that definitely makes sense for that scenario there. They won today on the road in Buffalo. They beat Minnesota at home. They beat the Ducks at home. They beat the Devils at home. They beat the Kings at home. 2 of those straight games were in overtime. So yeah, Tampa Bay is definitely getting back into their gear. Nikita Kucherov is one of those main reasons, just because he's been on an absolute tear this year. Just looking at his point total, he leads the National Hockey League in points. He's got 75 points on the year. The next best person on their team is 47 points, and that is Braden Point. So Nikita Kucherov has really been a factor. He's got 75 points on the year and 45 games played, and he's a -2. How does that make sense? That does not make sense whatsoever. Then you get Braden Point with the 47 points, Victor Hedman with 44, Steven Stamkos with 42 and 19 goals on the year. Yeah, this is 100% Nikita Kucherov's team right now. And looking at their goaltending situation, Vasilevsky definitely hasn't been the best since coming back from his injury. He's played 22 games. He's 13-9-0, 286 goals against with an .899 save percentage. So definitely hasn't been the best. Jonas Johansson has played in 22 games as well. 10-6-5 with a 3.34 to 8.94. So their goaltending really hasn't been the best overall this year. That basically is the summary out of that entire situation. It's really just Nikita Kucherov carrying his team from what it looks like. It's unreal, the stretch and the way that he has been playing this year. How old is he? How old is Nikita? He's 30 years old, right in the midst of his prime. Man, I would kill to have a guy like Nikita Kucherov on my team. How many years does he have left on his contract? I want to see. Nikita Kucherov contract. Let's see. Contract. Let's see. Cap friendly. How many more years does he have left on his contract? He's got 3 years left on his contract. He will be 33 when it expires, though. 33, 32, whenever, in terms of that. And his cap hit, he's making... Where's his cap hit? 9.5 on the cap. He's definitely going to be making a lot more money after this contract expires. But, hey, if I could find a way to get Nikita Kucherov on my team after that contract expires, oh boy, that would be very fun. Not sure what Nikita Kucherov will be at that point of his career, but yeah, I would love that. But for the Flyers right now, all you can do is bounce back. That's all you can do. Throw these 2 games in the garbage. Hopefully, Owen Tippett comes back for Tuesday. I'm not sure if they're going to rush him back just because you do got 3 more games until the All-Star break. And if you want to look at the standings right now just to see where the Flyers place, at this point, they're still 2nd place in the Metro. They are 2 points behind the New York Rangers. I do believe the Rangers play later today. In terms of separation, they're 1 point ahead of the Carolina Hurricanes for 3rd place, and then they're 6 points ahead of the Washington Capitals. So they still got some separation there between the rest of the teams in the Metropolitan Division. It's really just the Hurricanes right now that are in the midst right there. So, yeah, you lost 2 games. What are you going to do? Throw it in the trash and bounce back. You're still 9 games above 500. Continue moving. This team will be fine, in my honest opinion. I thought they hit a wall a couple of weeks ago on that West Coast Canadian road trip, and then they proved me wrong. So if people are doubting this team once again, that's where they want you to. That's where they want you to think, because that's when they'll catch you in a vulnerable position. That's basically what this team has been doing this entire season. So you got Tampa Bay on Tuesday, Detroit on the road on Thursday, and then to close out the month of January before the All-Star break, Saturday at 12:30 at home against the Boston Bruins for the first time this year. So definitely a very tough 3-game stretch in terms of just everything there. Detroit, they're 27-17-5. They're in 5th place in the Atlantic Division. They have given the Flyers trouble, especially on that road game that they had where the Flyers came back from a 5-1 deficit. Boston Bruins, they're one of the best teams in hockey, so that's going to be a tough game in general. And then the Tampa Bay Lightning, they're always going to be tough just because of their high-skilled forwards in their play. So definitely going to have to be a series where your goaltending needs to step up. Goaltending hasn't been there the past 2 games. We need to see it step up from there. And before we end off this recap, let's get to the Anytime Hotline. Let's get to Sean on what he has to say with this back-to-back.
Well, it's been a while since I've said this, but that was a bad performance by the Flyers. I mean, I can give, Saturday a bit of a pass with Colorado with their skill level. And I know it was a back-to-back, but you got to get 2 points against Ottawa today, especially when you're up 2-0. I'm sure Tortorella's post-game presser is going to be one for the ages. The defensemen were handling the puck like a hand grenade all day. If not for Sam Ersson in the third, it would have been over sooner than it was. But the game kind of reminded me of the Sixer game of last night. You played an inferior opponent. You had to battle and scrap for everything you got. The difference is the Sixers managed to win and the Flyers didn't. These are losses at the end of the year you remember if you fall short of the playoffs. We'll see what happens Tuesday, but based on our history against Tampa, especially in Philadelphia, not real optimistic.
I can understand why you're not optimistic about that point. But Tampa, they're definitely not the strongest as they've been, during the years when they won back-to-back Stanley Cups. They're still a very dangerous team, especially with the way Kucherov is playing. But from what it looks like from face value, their goaltending definitely hasn't been the same this entire season. Vasilevsky, coming off of his back surgery, definitely hasn't been the same Vasilevsky. And it's really just Nikita Kucherov carrying that entire team, because literally it's like a near 30-point separation between him and Braden Point for first and second place on the team in terms of point totals. So yeah, Nikita Kucherov is definitely going to be a hard guy to shut down. I would say keep them off the power play. That's one of my things, even though you do got the best power penalty kill in the league. I would say keep Tampa off the power play. You got to find a way to beat them at 5-on-5, and your guys got to step up, and your goaltending's got to step up. That's basically it. Throw these games in the trash, and we'll see what happens against Tampa Bay on Tuesday. Definitely going to be a tough last stretch of these 3 games here to close out before the All-Star break, but let's see where this Flyer squad takes us. So that'll do it for today, everybody. Thank you for joining as always. In terms of what's going on this week, it'll be Flyers recaps, and then whatever happens with the Eagles. There's been more reports talking about leading more towards Sirianni staying and a bunch of other stuff that's been going on, so maybe we'll have an Eagles talk at some point this week when more news gets fleshed out. Maybe we'll have it tomorrow, maybe we'll have it on Wednesday or something like that, just determining on when all the news can get out there. But for now, like I said, thanks for joining tonight. Don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section down below. Don't forget to drop a like. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It does me a great deal of service. And also use the code TTPSPORTS, $20 off your first purchase at SEATGEEK. Great deal. Do not pass it up. Thanks, guys, for joining whenever you decide to tune into this. And I'll see you next time.